Mining advocacy NGO Wacam is accusing the state and the mining industry of lack of transparency and accountability over circumstances surrounding the Appiatse explosion. In a yet-to-be-published report, it said the state and the mining industry have not been transparent and accountable to the citizens. We'll bring you details of the report shortly, but as we commemorate 1 year of the disaster that flattened the whole community and killed at least 13 people, Maxwell Agbagba brings us the following story recounting events in the small community near Bogoso in the western region.
The explosion rocked the small community near Bogoso exactly a year ago. Appiatse was flattened. Bodies were littered all over, with some of them trapped and buried under the rubble. The vehicle carrying the explosives shattered into tiny pieces.
The
My old house is closer to the road.
Oh, your house is closer to the road.
I have so many things.
Joseph Appiah was at work when he was informed about the death of his son, 21-year-old Justice Kwesi Takwa. He also lost his house and the pub.
I've lost so many things. Like Arrest said, I have drinking spot somewhere, store somewhere, and then 5 bedrooms. And then my new house is 10 bedrooms self-contained.
10 bedrooms?
Yeah, each room having its own washroom. When the spark started, he rather rushed to the house and then woke the mother up. The mother was sleeping. Then went back to take videos of the incident. That is what happened. That is what my wife told me.
So he was very close to the vehicle?
My old house is closer to the road.
Oh, your house is closer to the road?
I have so many things. Drinking spot, 5 rooms, and then the new house.
Okay.
Store and other stuff.
Janet Amate's 1-month-old baby miraculously escaped death after their building collapsed on her. She sustained injuries on her face. She could not stop crying as medical personnel treated her injuries. The explosion led to many deaths, and those who survived are living serious effects of it. A retired ear, nose and throat surgeon, Dr. Paul Kwao Intodi, says some of the residents are experiencing mild to moderate hearing loss.
And so far, we've seen about 38 of the victims, most of them with bilateral perforation of the tympanic membrane, the eardrums. A few of them infected because even though they had been given prescriptions, I think they did not manage to get some of the treatment. 1 or 2 had their middle ear infected. And almost all of them had mild to moderate hearing loss.
There were claims that the truck carrying the explosives did not have any escort, contrary to the safety regulations governing the transportation of such materials. The Port Divisional Chief Nana Atakwejo Brempe II says the truck had no escort.
My colleague in the western region, Athalia Kwanza, went back into the community and spoke with some survivors and has sent in this report.
You know, not me pamade. It's not woofy. Me pamade, but I am a duquechi. It's me, you'll be woofy.
I was a seamstress and I was home when I heard a bang. I wondered what it was. Although I didn't see what caused the fire, I saw the truck catch fire.
Cecilia Aban is a seamstress here at Appiatse and one of the survivors of that gut-wrenching incident here at Appiatse that killed more than a dozen people.
Back could be no yelling to Uncle School. So she then one was ma. Mokwa, I question many back on the
I was looking for the driver, but realized he was standing next to me. I had left my house for an errand when I heard the explosion.
We know. Can't that be.
I was hit by a stray metal in the buttocks. The metal has been removed, but now I struggle to sit down to work. I am in serious pain.
She still feels some pains in her vagina.
I didn't wait, so say be almost a me too. So, stra, you are annoying, Mamma, and I'm into me in a foot. And Pamadin.
So we're trying to find a better place and then stand. Because you have been car, and there is a place we are my way drew. So we moved to maybe a way drew 1 night. I observe whatever. Immediately we took some few steps, then boom! We had a blast. Unfortunately for me, my laptop bag Bikitano through my lens scattered all over. But before me, now I was in front, but they were all down. But God being so good, I saw my leg torn into two.
Like two? Can you describe it?
It was torn into two, like from here. What's so day? And I think let me check if I have the images. In fact, it was very. I was so scared.
Okay.
I knew that was the end of life for me. So I was just sitting down, but I had all my ID cards in my laptop bag, which has been thrown somewhere. So I was trying to get it so that in case I die, they will find my ID cards on me and then know that this is I'm very lucky I had the small phone too, which is in my pocket. So the only thing, I saw the bleeding, everything, then I had to call my wife. My dear, I think, yep, we're just traveling, so if this is what has happened, this is what has happened, and I think I cannot make it because I saw people who were close to me dead.
I couldn't look Kofi straight in his eyes throughout our conversation. At a point, he lifted his shirt to show me how he now attends nature's call. A tube-like container with a deposit of a mushy substance in it hangs around his stomach. The substance in there is a fecal matter. Just like using a chamber pot for such purposes, he disposes of the waste, wipes it up, and moves on until he feels the urge to respond to nature again.
This is the plastic bag that collects my excreta when it accumulates.
And I Jones also.
Jones them Jones all right.
But toilet men I want to make said you'll be a corner.
Sir.
And I feel sign.
When the someone said feel fine.
They connected my intestines to it through a tube. It is very uncomfortable. I'll be very happy if they remove it. I had to use one plastic bag for 4 days and then change it into a new one.
Baba 4 days time, you any flew us and so from young as I'm dressed for Friday.
The impact.
We can now share with you details of the report by Wacam, and just right there on your screens, Wasa Association of Communities Affected by so it says that the state and industry have not been transparent and accountable to citizens as investigations of the conditions that led to the accident have been shrouded in secrecy. The outcome of the investigation have not been made available to the public, and the Ghanaian public should be sensitized enough on the dangers associated with accidents involving hazardous and explosive materials. People tend to drift to accident scenes just to be first to capture the incident on social media, which must not be so. And it goes on to say regulations on safe transportation of explosives have failed to provide for strict liability to the cost of an explosion arising from the failure of companies to comply with regulations. Regulations have also failed to provide procedures for injured persons to claim compensations. Had the company acquired escort to the truck carrying the explosive as required by law, the explosion may not have happened. The company failed to ensure that the explosives were in the company of a competent person as required by LI 2177. It says people in the affected community have lived in tents for close to a year with hardships on the victims, and this affects their dignities as human beings. The tent camping is not conducive for long-term dwelling, especially in rainforest regions. Temporary measures in disaster situations should remain temporary and not be stretched beyond. So the victims of the Appiatse community should be adequately compensated as a matter of urgency. Companies, especially in mining and support services, must follow all regulations and legal requirements in undertaking their operations. And those are recommendations from Wacam on the Appiatse explosions. So other stories, some Ghanaian citizens in Australia are raising concerns that they feel dejected of the recent happenings at Ghana's foreign mission and consular posts in Australia. JoyNews sources revealed that Ghana's High Commissioner to Australia was recently recalled by President Akufo-Addo. The situation is reportedly creating difficulties for citizens who are unable to access consular service in Australia. Ghanaians in the foreign country say they are refused services with a justification that the head of mission is not at post. Blessed Sogan is with the international desk. He joins me with more. Blessed, who is this Ghanaian diplomat at the center of this?
Well, so his name is Dr. Joseph Nisai Kofi Ago. He is Ghana's High Commissioner to Australia, except that now we're getting indications that he was recalled by President Akufo-Addo. The explanation we're getting to that is that Dr. Joseph Nisai Kofi is almost going out of foreign services, almost retiring from service. And so that's explaining why he's being recalled. It's unclear if other Ghanaian officials are also giving the same directive to him, are being asked to also return home as we speak. The explanation we're getting from some citizens as well is that they've not seen much of his activities in the last few days. The last public event he held was when Ghanaian musician Guru actually paid a courtesy call on him. That was the last time they ever, saw him in public, and this was about a couple of days ago. So that was the last time they saw him.
Where is the Ghanaian mission located in Australia, Blessed?
Well, Canberra is the capital. That's where our official High Commission is, where all of our, mission personnel, foreign service staff find themselves. But in terms of our diplomatic arrangements, we have some outposts or consular services taking place in Sydney. Most people, or most Ghanaians, like to go in for services at Canberra because the understanding is that you would have your passports processed for you much faster at our High Commission in Canberra, except that in the last few days, citizens have not been able to access that service. Many of them say when you give a call or place a call to the mission, you're giving an explanation that because some service staff are not available, you would not be able to get some of the consular services. So that's what's creating the challenge, leaving many Ghanaians in the dark as to what exactly is going on at the mission. They are also raising concerns that the first point of call is a foreigner who picks up this call line to the consular services or the embassy, which is creating a bit of a challenge for them. A reason for which they are asking that President Akufo-Addo comes in to resolve the problem and to try and, get a diplomat who will be dedicated in expediting the process for them.
Any comments from the Foreign Affairs Ministry so far?
Well, fortunately, the Foreign Affairs Ministry is taking their turn at the public accounts hearings today in Parliament. And so that came up. The chairperson, James Kluchaviji, put that question to the Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs and some of the officials who were present. The explanation we're getting is that Dr. Joseph Kofi Aggo is going on retirement now, and that has not been, quote, sacked by the president, as the reports are indicating. They also go on to indicate that the arrangement they have within the mission, the foreign mission, is that the next senior-most officer is expected to act and to provide the consular services. So if there's any challenge or whatsoever, the next in line will be able to take care of those problems, except to say that they are also denying claims and reports that when you give a call, there's no one to handle the consulate services. So these are issues that we're going to delve into to try and probe some more and find out what the situation is, especially with regard to the concern of the Ghanaian community in Australia.
Let's take you live to Parliament right now to listen to officials of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs who are before the parliamentary, the Public Accounts Committee in Parliament.
Do we have ambassador in Australia now at Canberra?
Yes.
Who is the ambassador?
The ambassador is Dr. Aggo. He's just retired. A new one is in the process of being appointed.
So, who is Dr. Joseph Ni Sai Kofi?
Is Dr. Aggo, as I understand? If you are referring to Canberra, please, is Dr. Aggo?
Talking about Australia. Australia, our embassy is in Canberra, right?
Yes, please. Yes.
Or do we have another one in Sydney?
No, we don't. It's Dr. Dr. Ni Okai Hammond. That's in Cairo. But then the one you're referring to.
No, I'm talking about Dr. Joseph Ni Sai Kofi.
Dr. Ni Joseph Aggo. I think there's an error on the name, but it's Dr. Joseph Aggo.
So you don't have any name in your records, Dr. Joseph Ni Sai Kofi. You don't have that?
Yes, it's Aggo, please.
It's Aggo?
Yes, please.
Has he been sacked by the president?
No, he has not, please.
He has not?
No. Then his name is Nisa. I think he has Kofi to his name. Yes, sorry, Kofi. He has Kofi in his name.
Nisa Kofi?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Surname is Aggo, but should have appeared.
He has not been sacked?
He has not been sacked, no, sir, please.
So he's still at post?
He's retired.
He's retired?
Yes, please.
So is he still in Canberra or he's back?
He's come. He's retired. He's returned.
So I learned there is nobody in Canberra now. So the place is in a disarray.
We have an acting head of mission.
You have an acting head of mission?
Yes, please. So typically the next senior officer becomes the acting head until a substantive head is appointed.
Okay.
So those were extracts of the conversation between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs officials and the Public Accounts Committee. To other stories, government's gold for oil policy has taken off with the selling of the cheaper petroleum products procured under the arrangement by the bulk oil storage and transportation company BOST. We understand GOIL and the bulk distribution companies have taken deliveries for the market. What's being sold is, however, only 20% of Ghana's market needs. The Bank of Ghana says Ghanaians should not expect to see an immediate reduction in the price of petrol and diesel at your favorite filling stations just yet. Here's the head of financial markets at the Bank of Ghana, Stephen Opata, announcing it.
Even though from the numbers I've seen, the pricing is better than what is at the ESCOM prices right now, because this is just 20% of our needs, it will not make that much impact as if it were doing 100% of our diesel needs. So let's keep on going this program. As we build momentum and meeting 50 to even 60% of our needs, you will see that it will begin to impact on ESCOM prices. BOST is the government agency that is leading this aspect, the oil part of the value chain.
Right.
And I know that BOST is going to sell to other BDCs and other OMCs. So rather, I think they rather should come on board and be participants in this. BOST is not going to sell all this fuel. It has to sell through other BDCs and OMCs. And because the pricing is good, I think it should fit in with their business model. I don't see this program competing or dislocating what we were doing already. I think as a strategy, what we're trying to do is to find more sustainable foreign access to be able to buy petroleum products.
Executive Secretary of the Chamber for Petroleum Consumers, Duncan Amoah, is hopeful consumers will start experiencing a change at the pumps next week.
Prices would probably remain where it is currently. But as I speak with you, what I can confirm with you is that we've not started selling the gold for oil consignment due to some technical bits that would have to be cleared. Hopefully next week, Monday, we can probably be able to monitor as to what the landed cost really is and how much the BDC, which now BOST, probably will be able to trade the said product to the market. That would inform pump prices eventually. But for now, I am not certain that between today and the rest of the weekend, we are likely to see any price changes because the gold for oil consignment, like I said, has not started selling, as earlier reports had indicated.
Okay, so is it likely that by somewhere within next week we might see something like that happening?
Yes, once you go through your Q&Q done, and then you can also do your pricing assessment and evaluation, then most probably you'll be able to put out, your numbers out to the market. And that is when the market also likely to come up with bids for what volumes OMC 1, OMC 2 would probably be able to pick from you. But as it stands now, landing costs are not known. And the Q&Q assessments, I'm told, are still, being processed. So, give or take, by close of week, I'm quite certain that arrangements around this gold for oil consignment would have been concluded. So hopefully, early next week, we should be able to tell what impact on market is likely to be.
Okay, I'm grateful to you, Duncan Amoah, for joining us. He is the executive.
Some civil society organizations are calling on international creditors to cancel a large portion of Ghana's debts. Government of Ghana in December formally started processes to restructure its foreign debts under the G20 Common Framework platform. Ghana becomes the fourth country after Chad, Ethiopia, and Zambia to do so under a framework. On Wednesday, Ghana missed a $41 million interest payment due on the $1 billion Eurobond, but the aid groups believe private lenders must share in the cost of a crisis they helped to create. Bernard Anaba is a member of the Tax Justice Coalition calling for this cancellation. He joins us live for more. Ms. Anaba, first, what has necessitated this call for cancellation of debts for Ghana? Kindly unmute for me, Mr. Anaba.
Right.
Go ahead, Mr. Anaba.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to your viewers. Yes, so the government has made a decision to restructure the estate debt, and also our debt service due on the 18th was suspended, and we thought that that was the right decision, and we think that the government should be supported actually by the G20, both politically and financially, to be able to hold on its default until the private creditors are able to come on board. And significantly, we are looking at cancelling most of Ghana's debt in the level of sustainability, where we'll be able to turn to the market. Otherwise, we do.
We're having a bit of a challenge with Bernard Anaba's connection. We'll try and get him back online to tell us more about the feasibility of this whole arrangement. They're asking external debt. Mr. Anaba, are you back?
Yes, I have been on.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, so what we are asking for is simply for the government to ask for debt cancellation, because it is only debt cancellation that can reduce our debt levels to the indicators at which the government is looking for, at about 55% ratio and about 18% of government revenue, debt service to government revenue. And which means that that is what the government should be negotiating for. Anything other than that may not quickly return the country to a sustainable level. We have heard the finance minister talking about that they are looking at debt reprofiling, and that may not be enough to return us to sustainable level, and especially when we are going to go for more loans from the IMF, which means that we are going to pile on our loans and we'll only be kicking the can down the line, and within 2 or 3 years, we are going to return back to the same problem that we are facing, unless we seek for a significant cancellation of our debt so that we'll be able to return to sustainable levels.
External debtors would do this. I mean, is this feasible, what you are asking government to do?
It's very feasible because it did happen in 2000 when we had a HIPIC initiative. There was a negotiation looking at the debt levels, and the only way forward is to cancel most of the debt to allow mostly the African countries to return to sustainable levels. And we also, on the other hand, if you look at the risk levels in terms of the risks that we pay for our debt, we pay between 7.5%, an average of 7.5% for our debt, because we are considered at a high risk of default. And so most creditors made a huge profit at our back. So they are also obligated to also restructure our debt in terms of cancellation of our debt. If you have assumed that, of course, we are at a high risk and we can default, that is why you are taking a huge profit in terms of interest rate, then it has happened. So they need to come around the table. And otherwise, that's why we are saying that the government should sustain the default, suspend the debt service repayment, and that will force them back to negotiation to look at the way forward.
Even after announcing that you're a middle-income country, you still think that your debts will be cancelled?
Yes, it doesn't matter. That is the market. We are in a market, and it is a business that we are into. if you expect to get, I mean, it's a kind of relationship that we are into. We are in a very difficult situation, and we expect to get back to the market to transact business. And the only way we can get back to the market is for our business partners to consider our situation. Otherwise, we will not be there for them to make business with us. So it is a fair call for them to consider our debt levels. And what we are saying is that just profiling our debt is just kicking the can down the line, and we are going to return back to the same crisis. The only way is to consider canceling significant portions of the debt so that quickly we can retain the levels that the finance minister has said, about 55% of GDP in terms of debt levels, and about 18% of debt service in terms of government revenue. And this is the minimum that even the IMF has set. And so we expect the IMF to push for the debt restructuring to be significantly done in a way that it is not just a wishy-washy kind of a program, but something that significantly allows Ghana to return to levels that will help the country to move forward.
Bernard Anaba, I'm grateful for your time. He's a member of the Tax Justice Coalition that is calling on government to ask for debt cancellation from its external debtors. Now, the Tamale High Court has dismissed 2 cases challenging the 2020 parliamentary results of the Savelugu and Zabzugu seats. In the case of Zabzugu, the judge said the evidence presented showed that the Electoral Commission followed due process in conducting the 2020 parliamentary elections held in the area. Justice Daniel Obing said he did not see any irregularities in the evidence presented, adding the petitioner did not convince the court enough to warrant reversal or annulment of the 2020 parliamentary results. Same was held for the Savelugu seat. Justice Obing explained that there was no overvoting because the 2 parties to the case said there were administrative errors which were committed in filing the pink sheets. On the issue of non-verification of voters, he said even though on the face of the pink sheet it did not record that the voters were verified, from the evidence, everybody who voted was verified because they had polling agents who were to make sure the voters were verified before they voted. Here are some reactions following today's ruling.
I'm here this morning to listen to the court, the Tamale High Court, and it had to do with the election petition case against me, that is Zabzugu constituency. It all started in January 2021. Thank God today the court has spoken. And the court has not just spoken, but the court has spoken the voice of the people of Zabzugu. The court declaration of me as the MP for Zabzugu constituency has clearly demonstrated that the good people of Zabzugu constituency on the 7th of December 2020 decided that it was me.
Elections in Zabzugu as far as the parliamentary is concerned, and the MPP on the other had challenged the Savelugu seat. This morning, in sum, we can say that the status quo have been maintained by the court, while the Zabzugu seat has been declared in favor of the MPP, thereby maintaining the ruling or the declaration by the Electoral Commission. The Savelugu elections have equally been declared in favor of the NDC parliamentary candidate who was declared by the Electoral Commission. So as we speak, this ruling does not affect anything happening in Parliament now. The numbers remain the same. We have our Savelugu seats, they have their Zabzugu seats. We are satisfied with the outcome. There's no need to extend any further long processes as far as this is concerned. We don't intend to appeal against the ruling. To
be diagnosed with a hole in heart could mean a death sentence for many in Ghana, because of the cost implications. On the average, heart surgery in Ghana costs between $6,000 and $13,000. With the cost of heart surgery out of the reach of most Ghanaians, many patients are left to wait for the benevolence of individuals and organizations, and in some cases die before care arrives. But as Elton Broby reports, a Chinese investor has stepped in to pay for the cost of treatment, at least for the next 10 years.
Statistically, 1 child out of 100 births has a heart or chest condition. Smoking, excessive drinking, long exposure to X-ray, and poor eating habits by pregnant women are some of the causes of heart and chest conditions in children. The taking of drugs without prescription and the failure of some expectant mothers to attend antenatal care are the other causes. For most patients suffering the disease, cost is a huge barrier. Here is consultant at the National Cardiothoracic Center, Dr. Koe Nsua Mensah.
One of the pains that we have had is to see a child with a hole in heart condition who can be saved through relatively simple surgery, and there are no resources to be able to do that. It's very painful. Sometimes when you mention the amount, the parents break out in tears because some of them cannot actually imagine what the equivalent of $6,000 look like, because they work with such a very small capital. And to have the opportunity to be able to do free surgeries for 25 children every year, that's about a third of our capacity now. It's extremely significant.
But there is hope now, at least for the next 10 years, because patients without means to undergo surgery can apply for support from the Shin Yuan and Shin Yuan Foundation. Named after 17-year-old Shin Yuan, himself a hole in heart survivor, is the son of Chinese investor Shin Shan, who is a founder and chairman of the Sunda and Keda groups of companies with operations in Ghana in the last 20 years. Realizing the difficulties his son went through and the impact it had on his family after being diagnosed with a hole in heart at age 5, he gladly accepted a call when businessman Herbert Mensah suggested to him the idea of lending a hand to help patients in need at the Cardiothoracic Center.
Playing some of my pound from my heart. You know, when my elder son was born in 2005, after he was born 4 or 5 months, we got from the doctor, he has the heart disease. That time, the period, we feel very painful. And we go to a very good hospital in China, and he do the operation. He gets saved. But after he gets saved, in the next 4 or 5 years, he always sick, you know, because the body is not so strong.
We're still live on JoyNews today. We'll take a break and bring you business shortly.
We do business now. I am Beverly Broom. Now, as government creates an enabling environment for the assembling of vehicles, many automobile giants have been expressing interest to do business in the African markets through Ghana. The latest to announce their entry are Japanese automobile giant Honda and Korean manufacturer Midday. President of the Car Assemblers Association of Ghana, Jeffrey Opon, disclosed to Joy Business that discussions are far advanced for both manufacturers to begin assembling by March this year.
It has been a pretty quiet, not an easy journey. Of course, as the minister said, it's for the auto industry. You have so many stakeholders that you bring on board, and then also working with government. You need to come together, work alongside the policy. So it hasn't been easy, but with a great collaboration, and of course I will applaud the Ministry of Trade with the executive team. This is where we've come. There are more to come, because we could see that in the next few months, somewhere March, we will have also Honda and Hyundai, also Suzuki, also coming in. So it has been a good start. And like I said, every good thing does not come so easy. But we've done well.
The purchase also, how is it going, especially locally?
Locally here, the purchase, I talk about 4,700. Out of it is almost about just 5% or 3% is for export. All are locally purchased. We have government, and then, of course, you also heard about government policy to promote the industry by having all the government institutions to buy locally assembly. And of course, it makes sense, and it is also affordable compared to importation of vehicles. Yeah. So, and also from the retailer market, we have seen that there is a great appetite from individuals who are interested in locally assembling vehicles. And of course, the standards are the same. I can talk about VW. VW Terramont that you see here is the same as any VW that you will meet in other world, Germany or US or wherever. Yeah.
The Maltese government has disclosed that it will be investing heavily in some critical areas of the economy despite the current economic challenges. According to the chairperson of Trade Malta, Liz Barbaro, some of their critical investments will be in the oil and gas, education, health and ICT sectors. She adds that her country is still exploring other critical sectors of the economy to invest in. She spoke to Joy Business at the 3rd Malta-Ghana Business Forum held in Accra.
We are looking forward to collaborating between the Ghanaians and Maltese government and to explore business opportunities together and look forward together to work hard and make the business companies successful, both Ghanaians and Maltese. Our role as Trade Malta, which is a joint venture between the Maltese government and the Malta Chamber of Commerce. The Malta Chamber of Commerce helps Maltese businesses to grow. We are the voice of business. And obviously this is an extra step into helping companies to internationalize and work together. There are different areas. As our minister said, there is ICT, there is, this morning there were the signing of MOUs, there is healthcare, and we're obviously still exploring the different opportunities. There is also oil and gas, which we are also looking into as Maltese companies, and also the education system, because we feel we can exchange. Also, just a few years ago, before COVID, there was also an exchange of students from your fire services, where students came to Malta to train emergency training.
And that's how we end business. For more business, do log on to myjoyonline.com/business. I'm Beverly Broom. Have a good afternoon.
Let's do sports now on JoyNews today with me, Muftar Nabila Abdullah. Former Black Stars head coach Kwesi Appiatse says the next national team coach should be given at least 5 years to build a team that can win a trophy for the country in the next couple of years. According to him, the 2 years handed to national team coaches is not enough.
You know, the problem is when you are not given a longer period. You know, you're not given the time to build whatever you want to build. And it's a matter of just 2 years. Automatically, 2 years, we come out there just looking out for results. And all the white coaches that I've worked with, because we give them contract for 2 years, they come and they use whatever players we have assembled already, and use them to gain results and go away in 2 years' time.
So if you have to suggest to the FA, how many years should be good enough for a coach to build?
You see, when it comes to the national team, the least the national team coach should get is maybe 4 or 5 years. The reason being, if, for instance, you're not used to the players around and you are entirely new, it will take about a year or two to get to know the players, their mentality, their performance level, and how to integrate them. And then the other 2 years, you're looking at how you can get them to play tactically, for you.
That's your sports for now, but we do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com and also at 2 p.m. when we come your way with sports today. Up next is World News.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Showbiz here on JoyNews today. Now, US-based Ghanaian musician and manager for dance group DWP USA Wayne K. Williams has been on lack of support for the Azonto genre by Ghanaians. According to him, the music genre is a cash cow for many outside Ghana and is pleading with industry players not to abandon it. He spoke in a yet-to-air interview with me on eVibes.
My faith has always been a part of what I do. Coming to America was not the easiest move. America's not what I thought it was, I'll tell you that. But it's been about 10 years since I got here. And just like every African parent, go to school. So I actually studied music business as part of my major. So I did computer information systems with health science, and then I had a minor in music business. So right from jump, I've always thought of how to make money from music. And it's not about being famous. It's not all about being known and being popular, right? It's about pitching to your niche, using data and analytics from like all the applications or platforms you have, and then push your song. So for me, I do like Azonto and dance music. And I know in Ghana we say we shouldn't bring Azonto back, but I've been begging Ghanaians, please don't give up on Azonto, because it's making a lot of money outside of Ghana, right? And that's why DWP and I started working. I started working with the dancers and then eventually started managing them. And it's been huge. So I have songs and like gigs in Russia that people have worked with.
Away from that, former Trade Minister and Industry Minister Ecospio Gabra has advised the youth to take advantage of the creative arts industry, adding it's a huge potential to bridging the unemployment gap. He's speaking in a yet-to-air interview on PM Personality Profile with Aisha Ibrahim.
They are very good, very creative.
Quite
interesting. And the creative industries, I think, is one of the economic, areas where our young people, talents, can blossom very easily.
Definitely.
Because it has very, easy to enter. Not many barriers of entry. As long as you have talent, you can sing, you can dance, you can walk, you can joke, you can cook, all those things, you can sew. So people who are graduates, the Minister of Finance told us it will take up to 10 years for somebody who graduates these days to get a job, up to 10 years. So every year only 10% will get a formal job either in the private sector or in the public sector. So it is very, very important. That's why ABCD does these mentorship programs for young people to be appreciative and be aware of the current economic circumstance of Ghana and the fact that you should now depend as much on your own talent as possible. And everybody will find a talent that they have. Photography, camera work, all talent, beauty, arrangements, sewing, clothes, personal talents that.
The full interview airs later this evening on the Joy News channel. Do make a date. That'll be all for Showbiz here on Joy News today. Good afternoon to you, Aisha.
That'll be it for the Midday News, Joy News today. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Do log on to myjoyonline.com. There's more of the news. Enjoy the rest of our programs.